Hey, everybody, it's Kelly Nielsen here, the Grief Guru, and on this channel, we discuss all things grief. What is grief? What does it feel like? What does it look like? But most importantly, we share tips, tools, and resources to move through grief so you can get back to enjoying a life that you love. And I'm so thrilled today because today we're going to be unpacking why it is that you can't focus when you're grieving, why your ability to concentrate and focus just seems to go out the window when you're going through grief. And most importantly, how you can fix that. What are some easy, practical things that you can do to help restore the focus in your mind and body? And I'm beyond delighted that my good friend and genius partner, Dr. Darlene Mayo, neurosurgeon and neuroscientist, is here to explain it to us, why we can't focus and help us get back on track. So Darlene, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, Kelly, thank you so much for having me. Absolutely love what you're doing here. This is such a needed service, really.
Yeah. So as the doctor, as the authority, as the person who knows way more about our minds than we know, let's start with, why does this happen in the first place? When somebody's going through loss, why is it that we can't remember things and we can't focus? It's like we lose our mind, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, your brain likes order. Okay. And one of the first things that happens, as you know, when you go through the grieving process is there's a lot of chaos in your world, right? Well, guess what? There's actually a lot of chaos going on in your brain at the same time. Now, grieving it's a combination, right, of depression, sometimes anxiety and stress, and sometimes anger. Okay. Mm-hmm. Each one of those conditions on its own disrupts what's going on in the brain. When you have all three of those going on kind of at the same time or bouncing back and forth, the brain chemicals are out of order. Even the brain frequencies, the activity on one side of the brain versus the other, it's all disrupted. So you have certain brain chemicals that need to stay balanced, like dopamine, which is one of your motivating and happy brain chemicals. Serotonin is one that actually helps you stay calm and helps your memory. Okay. So those two essentially bottom out when you're going through the grieving process. So you don't feel like doing anything. You're stressed out. You can't remember anything. So that in and of itself would be enough to disrupt your focus, right? However, then you add, very severe anxiety or even anger to the mix. Then what happens is your body starts to release a hormone called cortisol. The brain does not like cortisol, okay? So it actually lowers those brain chemicals anymore, and it shuts down the thinking part of the brain in our cortex. So you respond based on emotions, you respond based on instinct, and literally you could have trouble adding 2 + 2 together when your brain is that stressed. So that's one of the things that's going on. The other thing is, our brain likes balance. So right hemisphere and left hemisphere, right? Even though we talk about some people are dominant on one side or the other, it really likes balance. And during the grieving process, activity preferentially goes to one side or the other. I wish I could tell you which side. It varies based on the person, but the brain does not like that and does not respond very well. So essentially just a lot of chaos going on in the brain at multiple levels.
So everything is a mess, which sounds about right for those of us that have been through it or are going through it right now. I'm sure we're all just resonating with everything she's saying. So now that we've identified the mess, Dr. Darlene, help us restore order. What are things, understanding that our brains are not working, right? That's the trick with getting tools to help, because your brain is not firing on all cylinders. So you need to have tools that you can actually do and engage with. Very simple, very easy to implement. So what are some of your best tips?
Yeah, so I'll give you 3 tips that I think are going to be very reasonable for everyone to do here. The first one really is to establish a new routine, right? Your routine, it has been disrupted. It's just a fact, right? The sooner that you can establish a new routine, whether it's the perfect routine that you're going to stick with from now till forever, it doesn't matter. Just actually having structure and order, like you're going to get up at this time of day. You're going to, simple things. You're going to eat lunch at a certain time of day. People forget to eat, right? This sort of thing, have a bedtime routine that you at least get in bed at that time. You may not sleep, But the more routine that you can add in, the faster your brain will start to say, oh, okay, this is what I need to do. And your mind's less likely to go off and on some tangent thoughts and that sort of thing, because it'll be drawn back in every time, that alarm goes off for that particular routine. So that's something very, very helpful. So that's one. Second thing, one of the things that I love, it's called a breathing meditation. And even if you've never meditated before, this is super, super easy to do. What you do, it's a box breathing. So you breathe in for 4 counts. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then hold for 4 counts. Breathe out for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, and do maybe 10 cycles of that. It's so powerful to help balance the activity between both sides of the brain that I talked about was one of those things that was disrupted. It also helps to kind of calm everything down in the brain. So if you're experiencing a lot of anxiety or anger, it's so powerful to help bring that back down. And it actually helps to lower your cortisol levels as well. So that's something maybe first thing in the morning, even before you get out of bed. Great idea to do that. It'll take you less than 2 minutes to do, and very, very simple. So
love that one. Love it.
Yeah. So that's number 2. And then number 3 really is to engage community of people who are in a very healthy place emotionally. Okay. Because it's so hard. Even these simple things that I've given you, right, can be hard to do on your own when you're going through the grieving process. And so having somebody there to help support you through these things is powerful. What's more, though, is when you interact with others, your brain releases another brain chemical, one of my favorites. It's called oxytocin. And it's our trust, it's our bonding brain chemical, but it also helps to balance out those other brain chemicals that have been affected by the grieving process. So I love that. So reaching out to others, especially those who have been through what you've been through and are importantly getting through on the other side, is so helpful.
Yeah, that's so important. And maybe explain from a neurological standpoint, because I've talked to several people and I experienced myself that not all community is created equal, and that if you get into a support group, a quote unquote support group, and if all the basis of that support group is just really regurgitating and rehashing your pain, it's actually hindering you and not helping you. Can you explain a little bit like what that does to us neurologically when we're just kind of week after week surrounding ourselves with people's sad stories and constantly resharing our sad story?
Yeah, absolutely. So your brain actually mirrors what your environment is. That's why it's so important who you surround yourself with, and even what, TV media influences that you have, right? If you are around people that are very negative and they say, look, you're never going to get out of this, it's going to take forever. Your brain actually has a network of cells called the mirror neuron network. And when you see that in somebody else, it's telling your brain that you're like that too. So even if you don't feel very good right now, and I understand that, what that's like, being around people that are positive and have made it through is the best thing you can do for your brain, because it teaches your brain, hey, there is something on the other side of this, and you're starting to actually lay pathways in your brain that you are coming through this actively, which is so powerful.
Oh, I love that. And that is why we have this, right? This is not just your typical support group. We are actually about helping people move through and being examples for folks. So your brain can learn that, hey, we can get through this. We can have an amazing life again. Oh, it's so good to know that it's all backed by science. It's all there, people. So I hope you all have enjoyed this video. If you want to connect with Dr. Darlene, we'll put her links in the description. You can feel free. She has an amazing wealth of resources and tools and courses that you can learn so much about your brain and how to maximize your own individual potential. And she is graciously one of our coaches in Grief Relief Nation. I'm so thankful for that. So you can also join us in the nation. But certainly for this and more tools, subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all next time.
Thank you.